Oh, is that fine? Or I can
that's
help you off.
Yeah, that's all right. I just look like a goofball.
That's fine. I can just do a headshot.
No, that's okay.
All right.
No, sell Charlie Bartlett.
All right, cool. There you go.
We're selling.
Okay, so let's just get right into it.
Sure.
First question I had is, do you believe in animal testing, and what if 1,000 bunnies died every time your movie was shown, but you're guaranteed to gross over 200 million? Would you still release the film?
Now, how many bunnies are going to die for $200 million?
1,000 every time.
1,000 bunnies.
Every time it's shown.
Every time it's shown.
That's a lot of bunnies.
Okay, that's a lot of bunnies. It's a lot of money too.
Yeah.
I'd rather save the bunnies, but I'm not really sure the correlation of our film killing bunnies.
Okay.
I think our film would actually support bunnies. I think Charlie Bartlett would actually listen to the bunnies' problems and try to help them, and he might fail and give them the wrong drug. But let's hope that the bunnies live.
All right. Speaking of drugs, are you a little worried maybe about the message that drugs play in the movie? Because it almost seemed like the one kid that might have got prescribed the right medication ended up trying to commit suicide. Well, it's like a tough line to...
It is a tough line, and look, our movie is, it's a comedy, and it's also got something on its mind. We do play fast and loose with the idea of how easily you could be prescribing kids drugs. And to be honest, we're ultimately an anti-drug film. We're not ultimately an anti-prescription drug film, because I have to say they do help people. We're just saying that it's not really the right thing to prescribe too easily to kids who maybe were playing video games and eating chocolate and watching TV, that they're a little hyper to give them Ritalin. I think ultimately the film is a cautionary tale. I mean, Charlie certainly learns a lesson. He realizes that what he was doing by listening to people was great, but by providing them drugs was not. And no, I'm actually not. I have no concern that anyone would watch this film and go off and take drugs because of the film. I think ultimately, if they're really watching it, that's not an issue. And we're playing fast and loose and trying to have fun with it. But I think we're pretty responsible, and I think the film's heart is in the right place in terms of that. There are certainly kids who take all kinds of things for all kinds of reasons. I think we're all aware of that, and I think for us to turn a blind eye to it is kind of a shame. But we're not trying to make a blanket statement that judge everyone either.
Cool. One thing I did notice, especially in the beginning of the movie, was the similarities, just kind of like the tone maybe to Harold and Maude.
Initially, the film was quite a bit darker and more serious, and Gustin Nash and I, the writer, worked together to try and create more of a human comedy with a somewhat lighter tone. And yes, initially the nod to Harold and Maude was probably a lot subtler, and then when we added the Cat Stevens song, and in fact then added a second variation of it, it became quite a bit clearer, and people have mentioned it. But it's meant only as a nod to what I think is a great film.
All right. Kind of to switch gears a little, I noticed while just kind of researching you worked with the show Erie, Indiana.
Yes.
I used to watch that occasionally on, I guess, Saturdays. And
Erie, Indiana, a great lost television show.
Is there going to be a movie ever, or?
I don't know. Carl Schaefer, the gentleman who created the show, was a good friend of mine. We went to film school together. We made a lot of short films together, and it was a great piece of work that was just a mite subversive, and in the world of network television, didn't quite get the audience it needed. But it's funny. There's a little similarity in that they were younger kids, but it was trying to treat them with some respect and have some fun at the same time. And that's the first time anyone's ever brought up Erie, Indiana.
Oh, really? Oh, do you think Robert Downey's work in Iron Man carried over at all into this movie, or do you think he was just the alcoholic, drunken principal you make him out to be?
Well, okay, alcoholic drunken principal is a little over the top, but Iron Man actually, he made that movie after Charlie. Charlie Bartlett was actually finished, and we premiered in May at the Tribeca Film Festival. And look, he's going to be amazing as Iron Man, and he is so psyched up to do it, and the trailers look amazing. But they're really two separate issues. You know, Robert came onto this film, and he was really great. One of the first things I said to him was, 20 years ago, you could have played this character. He was not unaware of that irony. And his character in the movie is sort of a surrogate father to Charlie. And he's in this odd situation where he's sort of a reluctant principal, which leads to, in his life, to his drinking. And he sees something in this kid that he really likes, yet he's the authority figure, and the kid is not only undermining his authority at the school, but he's going out with his daughter. So it's a very complex situation that's not so simple. There's a little bit of a love-hate relationship with him and Charlie, and I think they come to a good resolution at the end. And, it's amazing to me still to this day that Robert Downey Jr. is in our movie. Thank you, Robert.
Kind of continuing on that note with Robert Downey Jr., what would you say to a person who only limits themselves to one Robert Downey Jr. movie a year? How would you convince them to see your movie? Keep in mind, he also does have a new movie coming out later in the year called Tropic Thunder, starring Ben Stiller and Jack Black. So how are you going to convince them over Iron Man and Tropic Thunder?
Okay. Well, are they allowed to watch any of them on DVD?
Yeah, they can watch them eventually.
Charlie Bartlett is the one you should go see in the theaters, because you'll see Robert playing a principal, an authority figure, and that's something he's never done. And that's part of what's so beautiful about him doing this. This is a part you would usually expect a more conservative actor with a more conservative background to play. And look, there's comic book movies. His may be the best one ever, but you've seen a lot of them. How many movies have you seen about a kid who's a therapist and dealing prescription drugs in the high school bathroom, where the principal, an authority figure who he has many great scenes with, is Robert Downey Jr. And I'm sure that both Iron Man and Tropic Thunder are going to be great movies with tons of advertising, and you're going to have so many opportunities to see them. Go see.
Have any stories about Josh Brolin worked with him? Maybe did you try and get him in Charlie Bartlett?
No, don't know Josh Brolin other than his work. Are you a fan?
Well, I feel like 2007 was, the
Brolin year.
The big year for him.
Yeah.
Coming back with Planet Terror and Country for Old Men, and he was even an American Gangster. And I was wondering.
I unfortunately know nothing about Josh Brolin, but I can tell you one thing for sure: when Josh Brolin gets a chance to see, it will be his favorite movie of the year, because he is a great actor with great taste, and he'll see the humor and the heart that exists in it. It's an amazing experience. I mean, it's really rare in Hollywood for a movie to have one writer from beginning to end. And I read 100 scripts before I found Charlie Bartlett. I was really looking for something that had humor, heart, and something on its mind, and there aren't a lot of those. And I was a little naive, because it was very difficult to get the film financed because of the drug issues and the R rating issue. And my experience with Gustin was amazing, because I came in and I think, as all directors do, they have ideas of how to move things, and Gustin was totally behind it. He wrote this film when he was 26, and he was working in Ritz Camera in the Burbank Mall. And he was hanging out with teenagers and listening to them complain about how most teen films talk down to them. And he took it upon himself as a challenge to write a movie that these kids who he worked with every day would respect. And he... Hi.
There's someone at the door.
We're having a noise.
Hi.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, so we got 5 minutes.
Okay, sorry for that little 5-minute
No, that's fine.
So Gustin Nash was working in the Ritz Camera in the Burbank Mall in Los Angeles. It's a movie for anyone who was a teenager, who ever had a teenager, who ever was a teenager, which hopefully means all of us.